Steinem and Arthur Waskow, the glorious odd couple that we honor tonight. I would ask you both to remember that when he was your age, Moses was just starting out on his 40-year journey that would take him to the promised land. And you, both of you, you have already helped change our history as witness your joint presence here tonight. So the odd couple, Gloria, the elegant visionary who showed the world that feminists are brilliant, charismatic, powerful, reasonable, and right. And who has been such a creative power of a movement that helped change America forever. And to hear her introduce, by an equally creative presence, a dear friend and one of my favorite public intellectuals, Kosi Rabaya, my cup runneth over. And now my friend Arthur, this both literally and figuratively outsized presence in Jewish American life, who has created institutions, reimagined liturgy, remade community in ways that can only be described as amazing. In fact, many of Arthur's accomplishments, if we are to be honest, seem so improbable that some have said that Arthur's ability to accomplish them is nothing short of magical. What is striking about this, for those of you who happen to be Harry Potter fans, is with his white beard, his avuncular nature, and twinkly eyes, Arthur bears an uncanny resemblance to that magical wizard Dumbledore. And I know for a fact that Arthur and Dumbledore have never been seen in the same place at the same time. A few indicia of that magic. Well, Arthur has the physical stamina of men half his age and women half his age, proof of which is that he is able to outlast anyone at any meeting, march, rally, or gathering. He is simply, implausibly indefatigable. And Arthur is also amongst the most prolific writers in modern Jewish life. Every book or article or blog he writes is filled with new, dynamic thinking. He draws from his first career, a PhD in American history, a founding influence in the Institute for Policy Studies, a writer on an array of liberal and radical causes. For the past 40 years, he is ranked only with Jacob Neusner. I'll bet your word there ain't how to finish that sentence. As the Isaac Asimovs of Jewish literature, that is, he is able to write and produce quality articles and books faster than I can read them. There was a time when new liturgical approaches meant new translations of the traditional liturgy or modern readings from other sources to supplement them. And then, poof, 1969. Arthur published the Freedom Seder, integrating a rich liturgical modern language. Okay, I do acknowledge sometimes over-the-top language. Our traditional ritual with the most urgent moral issues our world faces. And in that instance, the entire course of contemporary Jewish liturgical writing was altered. And Arthur helped pioneer the Kabbalah movement and engaged some of the best and brightest of both his generation and my much younger generation, seeding American Jewish life with some of the most creative and influential figures of our time. And Arthur's merging of the aesthetics of mystical strands of the tradition, new liturgies and rituals, the synergy of traditional prayer and meditation, his passion for social justice, all rolled into an expression of Judaism that breathed new air and brought new light into so many Jewish lives, including so many of you gathered here tonight, placed him in a pivotal role in helping to shape the renewal movement. Once a marginal presence in Jewish life, through many of your efforts, Arthur's relentless determination and creativity, matched and inspired by Rav Zalman and by so many of his fellow renewal rabbis and lay leaders who embraced that aesthetic, The renewal movement has not only grown into a significant presence in its own right, but it has had a profound impact on the Reform, Conservative, and Reconstructionist movements, and it is time and then some that be acknowledged. And of course, through it all, was the remarkable Rabbi Saperstein. A major figure in her own right and a leavening catalyst for all that Arthur brought to his public table. Ladies and gentlemen, join me for a second in paying tribute to him. Above all, Arthur has been one of the great prophets of contemporary Jewish life. His moral courage is nothing short of astonishing. In all that he does, what he preaches, how he prays, the way he lives his life, Arthur combines the deepest values of the Jewish tradition with a passion for healing social ills. Other Jewish leaders may have talked about non-proliferation. Arthur, not satisfied by talk, created the Shalom Center to help provide a driving Jewish force for ending the nuclear arms race. Others prayed that mutual assured destruction would work. Arthur proclaimed the vision, not of pace or pax, the absence of war, but of peace rooted in shalom, a world of healing and of wholeness for all. And others preached conservation. Arthur, with a vision of eco-justice, confronted us with his resolute demand that we not only advocate policies, but live our lives so that we ensure that we do in fact fulfill the obligation to protect and preserve for generations yet unborn the fullness of God's creation. And if the poor are left behind by our astonishing, unfathomable, immoral contemporary budget mess, others have only responded by seeking higher budget levels. God bless all who do that. But Arthur put himself on the line, getting arrested while protesting for the poor in the symbolic center of our government, the Capitol Rotunda. And that list, it goes on and on. You know it and admire it as much as I. Yet let me say what I know many of you are also thinking. Arthur could be as hard or harder on his allies and friends as he could on his opponents and critics. There were times when friendship and collegiality were marked by differences, occasionally deep differences that he and I and others had on substance, on strategy, on tactics. And Arthur could be impatient you in this room who did not live up to his ideals, concur with the wisdom of his tactics. He broke no tolerance for organizational niceties. He respected them, but he refused to ever allow them to be justifications for failing to say what must be said or do what must be done. Not surprisingly, an often discomforted establishment all too rarely acknowledge Arthur's immense contributions to contemporary Jewish life. Now look, Arthur's style might not have been their style, it might not be my style, it might not even be yours, but make no mistake about it. It is the style that Isaiah and Micah and Amos would have recognized, and we are, every one of us here, every Jew, everyone everywhere, the beneficiaries of his courage, his eloquence, his creativity, and his relentless nudging. Dumbledore may have been a great wizard, but even he would marvel at the way that this honoree has enriched and is enriching our lives and transformed American Jewish life. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in paying tribute to this honoree, to both these extraordinary honorees and leaders, as they begin the next stage of their remarkable journeys with a prayer and the confidence that someday soon you will guide us to the promised land.